just so you guys know what you're looking for in the morning, because yes, you get the full recording back. You guys should be able to see me. I'm orange, red, and yellow. So that means I'm the warmest thing inside the picture. Normally when I have my bridal parties, I'm the hottest thing inside the picture. It makes everybody giggle. So, and I have one of those tomorrow. So I was like, let me take my group of 5 tonight. I got my group of 10 tomorrow. But everything that's blue and black around me are the colder areas. We're going to try, with a smaller group, to keep somebody in view. Our skin temperature is going to be warmer than anything else out here, regardless of how hot and muggy it is. With that said, it is going to be difficult with a smaller group, but we will spread out just a hair for the camera person to be able to capture us. We are looking for those blue and black spots to move on their own. There's always going to be blue and black as long as somebody's in view, but we want it to start moving, take shape, kind of drop in temperature anywhere between 15, 20 to 30 degrees. So, with that said, Jeff, was it? Did I get it right? You're Jeff.
Josh. I'm Jeff.
I'm Jeff. The J's are going to get screwed up.
It's okay.
You're going to hold that horizontal all night long. Your hand is over the lens. Good job. Everybody does it. Nope, it's still over. The camera is an attachment on the left-hand side of the phone. So the orange square means that it's recording. If it turns to a circle, just let me know. I'm going to actually have you stop the video halfway, give it like a 5-minute break, and we'll start it back up again, just so I have to splice it together and we don't lose any footage. The software update on that thing is horrible, so I have to splice it for you guys now. So again, keep it horizontal, camera on your left, you'll be good to go.
Would you rather do that with somebody else?
I was going to say.
Tyson?
Huh?
You feel comfortable doing that, or you want?
Oh, I didn't mean that. We're good.
We got the right person? Everything's insured. We're fine. We're good. We're good.
Just keep somebody on this at all times, right?
You got it.
Okay.
You don't even have to watch it. Just be the camera person. It's interesting to watch, but again, that device doesn't always catch something. It's not every night that something pops up on it. It just needs to be at the ready. Spirit boxes. Let's talk about these. So spirit boxes are a way for us to communicate with the dead. Tonight we're going to be using 2 different types of spirit boxes. This one in particular is going to sweep through FM radio stations at a very quick rate. Normally, it doesn't seem like you guys watch the show, so I'll explain. The TV shows will play these very fast as they can, so it's just white noise, just static. Then the host will normally give you what he thinks he heard in the middle of it, trying to convince you of the same thing. We're going to be doing this in real time, only mine are not super fast. They are slowed down on purpose. You guys aren't used to listening to this thing.
Right.
I am. However, I want the radio chatter to come through. The song lyrics, the DJs, the commercials. In the event we can make any of that little chatter out, whether it be a word or a full phrase, it's a 50-50 shot. I can match it to the location of wherever we are, a person I'm talking about in history, or something even going on with one of us. So it happens all the time. Tomorrow morning, you will get this full recording back. It does record the entire thing with no background noise, so we'll not know what we are saying. And even when I say put this thing down on mute, it's still recording at a nice, even level. I don't know how it does it, but it's why I have it. So, again, it's wonderful. I will give you 15, about 20 markers of things that I find, whether they're relevant or not. Reason why is because you're kind of training yourself to listen to the entire thing. If it's relevant, I will tell you why that specific phrase is relevant to that location, and then give you the backlink of where I got my information. Again, my gimmick is honesty. I'm all about you guys actually verifying me. It's a good thing we didn't give you the camera.
Yeah, it's a very good thing you didn't.
I take that back. Maybe it's a good thing he gave the camera up. I'm the one who gave it
The
to him.
transfer was the issue.
So,
Wherever you feel the least attached to.
he'll be just fine.
I'm kidding, Josh.
Kind of. Not really. Sorry, not sorry. Alright, so this is sweeping through the FM radio stations already. So as you can see, the numbers are already starting to move. I do have it set on the slowest setting. So this one's actually going to go to you this time. You have one button to worry about. Don't hit anything else. There's a wheel at the top. Control the volume. I'll kind of give you the heads up of when we turn the spirit boxes up. But for now, definitely get used to where that wheel is at. You got it. And it just said perfect. Just saying.
That's awesome.
This one. This is another spirit box. Was it Donna? This one, you seem a little hesitant, so I'm gonna give you something really easy to do.
Okay.
This one is gonna give us words in the center of the screen from time to time. So it's gonna save all of those words to a list. Here's what I'm gonna tell you about this phone app, because it's exactly what it is. 80% of what comes up on this thing doesn't mean anything. It's, pardon my French, but it's bullshit. It doesn't mean anything. It's meant to try to scare you. In the event we actually get a specific detail about the location, a person, or one of us going on, obviously that's a big clue. That's what we're looking for. I'm going to clear out last night's list. They actually had over 70 terms. That's been about the average lately. and we're going to start off fresh. At times, I'm going to say, Donna, where are we at with that list? All you'll need to do is hit that little white box, and it'll give you everything we have so far.
Okay.
And then you just hit the circle back in the top. Right now it says stranger, so I am your stranger. Stranger danger. That's our first word.
You strangers.
So, Brian, you do what you do.
Brian, you're going to be my multitasker.
Okay.
Oh, shoot.
Oh man,
That'll
we're in
be all
trouble.
You guys are all worried about each other. This is awesome. Definitely a family dynamic. It's great. So we need EMF readers whenever we're doing, this kind of work. So the top number that you see is actual electromagnetic fields. So anything that is going to be an electronic is going to probably set it off a little bit. Obviously, my phone's not setting off a full pulse right now, but anything above 2.5, I kind of want to know what's going on with that.
Okay.
And I'm still going to try to debunk, try to disprove that it's something paranormal first. So again, I've seen this one go all the way up to 150. The ones you guys see on TV only go to 25 milligauss. The bottom number, in the event, oh my God, I'm losing names.
Ashley.
Ashley, in case Ashley finds something on her camera, you and I can figure out what it is by the temperature at the bottom number. It gives us an ambient temperature from the yellow probe at the top. Last but not least, the last function, which we don't use all the time, and I'm going to show you more about this one. A lot of people get scared about that. Sorry
I'm
about
looking
that.
for.
But it's an actual motion detector. So if something gets close to the antenna, it will go off. There's an EMF field being generated around the antenna. I have it set pretty small because we will be moving. But again, all I need you to do for now is leave the little flap open in the back, and I'll show you more at the first location.
Okay.
Just watch your numbers. That's all you got.
I
Think I forgot about you?
That's why you want to keep somebody in
I
at
figured
all
somebody
times.
has to get last.
You have that contrast.
You're getting the new device.
So,
The new one.
okay.
I've only had it for less than 2 months now. We're still experimenting with it.
No pressure.
Okay.
No,
No
pressure
pressure.
at all. None at all.
Cool.
It's a little crazy looking.
Can you multitask?
Love it.
So, quick demo with this so you guys know
Double
what we're
GoPro.
looking for. You guys should not be able to see me in that tiny little screen. It should be pretty dark.
It is.
Let's turn on some lights.
Now we can see you.
Without light that you can see with your own eyes.
Right.
So again, we're working with full spectrum lighting on this guy. So we're going to be looking for things in darker spots with the 2 lights that I just turned on. This is long range. You leave it on all night. Don't worry about any of those switches. This is short range. So if somebody's really close to you, you could just turn it off because it's going to bleach out anyway. So you still want to get the long range to go past.
Okay.
So again, there's a little red button right here. Your record is right here. The files are so large on this guy, we're only going to record in about 2 to 3 spots. We only have about an hour worth of video on there, so we're going to savor it for our really good hotspots that I normally have.
Cool.
Fair enough?
Love it.
All right. Now that everybody has tools and devices.
And I'm assuming you will give me the heads
Oh,
up
yeah.
whenever it's time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're not going to be separated that far.
Like it.
Questions, comments, concerns so far?
Let's do it.
See why we're concerned. He just sit down in the middle of the road.
Yeah, they're going to come close, I'm telling you. So let's talk about the building where I had you guys meet me up at. So 251 East Bay Street. They're actually turning it back into Big John's Tavern, but back in the 70s it was also called Big John's Tavern. Big John was a football player for the 1947 New York Giants. Hang on, wait a drink. You guys are going to make me work and talk my head off tonight. I can feel it. Oh, it's going to be fun. So, the Big John, he used to sit in the back of the bar. He would tell the bartender, if the cadets coming over from the Citadel, because this was their hangout, if they were old enough to drink with them. One night, 2 guys come in, they're not old enough to drink. Big John has a bartender throw them out. They come back the next night, and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John's not happy, he starts pounding these guys into the floor. He recognizes them from the night before, so he's just beating the hell out of them. A couple of shots go off. John gets hit in the neck, and the bullet lands in the wall. John gets up, keep in mind he's the one who got shot, goes back to the bar, he tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the guys on the floor an ambulance. So, first thing is, John's the one that got shot and he's the only one that got up. Second, nobody died in that story. So what's haunting the place is the bullet hole. It's allegedly still here. I say allegedly because they are renovating the place as we speak. So I'll have to go back in and check. People that sit in the front of the bar tend to get a little queasy, nauseous headaches. Those are light symptoms. Anybody feels any of those type of things tonight, I need to know immediately. The reason why I tell the story first. So again, fingers crossed, we're going to be dealing with paranormal activity, but I have had people pass out from this tour in the dead of winter, so no, it was not from the heat. So again, it just depends on who's dealing with it. But let's not talk about our own health. Donna's like, are we serious right now? Like, this guy is legit.
Don't worry, dude. The doctor said it's cool.
The first time somebody passed out, I took CPR classes the next day. Like, I was just like, I'm not doing this.
Well,
But
she's a nurse. I'm a doctor. He's a pharmacist.
Don't
We
be
got it.
telling people that. Pressure.
We got you
pressure.
covered.
Drink his Zofran.
Same building, 1886, we had a big earthquake here. Allegedly, this is where the first death occurred. So, piece of the mantle you guys see in the middle of the building, that white mantle, also wraps around the front on the east bay side. A piece of it broke off, struck somebody in the back of the head, and apparently killed him, and they say you could see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street in the middle of the night. Notice I said apparently and allegedly a lot with that story because there's no proof. I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue so you guys weren't thinking about getting sick on my tour, but with the team I have, I feel more secure than I ever have. So let's go.
Until we're all the ones laying on the ground.
Yeah, until we're the ones on the ground.
Yeah, right?
Exactly.
And you're going to be testing me for my CPR training.
Oh.
You know, they change that like every day.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. Yeah, that was like a year and a half ago when I took that.
Oh, it's different now.
They don't technically change it every day, but it seems like it.
No, they
Yeah,
do.
I'm
I
sure
just
it
took
does.
it last month.
No, do that again.
So I'm actually going to stop this over here. So only because these people are leaving work and they get a little finicky about their private lot, which is perfectly fine. It's public, even though they say it's private. So this is the big red barn. This is where we keep your horses for your carriage rides. Okay, you guys can probably smell them already. I'm immune. I can't smell anything. Not to mention, my wife and I were packing today because we're moving, and she was spraying perfume. Was going, "Do you like this one? Do you like this one?" And like, my nose is so clogged right now from smelling all these. I'm like, just get rid of it. Just get rid of all of them. I don't care. Start over. So anyway, but the only history here is really simple, and I do this, one of the first stops on purpose, so I can kind of, teach you guys more about your devices. This is the same red barn where we had the horses that delivered milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. So again, really simple history. Every place I take you to, there's always going to be keywords. With Big John, it's obviously John, big. Anything dealing with a bar, 1947, New York Giants. So those are kinds of the terms that I'm looking for on the recording of the Spirit Box because it was on mute the entire time. So that first couple of minutes, that's what I'm listening for. In this one, it's usually things wrapped around those horses. Not to mention, we could still get things wrapped around Big John's Tavern. We are still very, very close to the location. So let's talk about the two spirit boxes we have. Only one makes noise, which is good. I kept the other one in the bag. Spirit boxes, this is not, is somebody here? Because if somebody answers no, like, they're obviously somebody here. So we're going to just stay away from yes and no questions all night long. And what we're going to be doing is asking for specifics. You guys came on this tour to actually see something actually happen. If somebody's here, tell me what color the big red barn is. Again, I told you I'm going to keep it nice and simple for you guys at the beginning. So we're going to be looking for the color red. We're going to be listening for the color red. They're using DJ voices to portray messages back to you. So in the event they can't find the color red to give back to you, it might be something specifically red, like a fire truck, blood, heart. Any of those type of things are what are clues, so to speak. Am I going to get excited if what color is the big red barn and we get the word blood? Yes, that's a correct answer. However, I won't get excited when I get vague terms that aren't super connected. If you obviously hear the number 40 come through on your spirit box, and you have the word art that shows up on your spirit box, Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team back in 1947. Two clues make sense. We have an awesome sandwich going on. But again, if you have a direct answer of what color is a big red barn, blood, I'll take it. Like, that's the direct answer. In the event we don't get that kind of answer out of either one of you, and it turns out to be, okay, that question's not being answered, then what's inside the barn? Those horses, they're animals, they're draft horses, that's their breed. I've heard the word draft here before. Obviously, they were delivery horses that delivered milk and eggs can be portrayed as milk and calcium. I've seen that before. I'm sorry, protein and calcium. So you guys got the gist. But again, those are the kinds of things, like, I'm looking for specifics. There's always a way to reword a yes or no question. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you're always if the answer to your question is going to be yes or no, oh, how can I reword that? If somebody's here, tell me your name. Do you know what I mean? That's a different than if somebody here, right? So that's what we're looking for. As far as, I am going to work with the thermal imaging camera just to kind of show you a little bit more first. And then I do want the rest of you to spread out, and then that way you can kind of get the gist of how your devices work. I'm going to bounce around with each one of you, but go ahead and turn up your spirit box just a little bit as you're kind of portraying, going through this lot right here. And start asking those questions. If you don't want to ask anything, because some people feel weird asking people they can't see questions, just listen in. See if you can actually hear some of the things that are coming through there, which is perfectly fine. Same thing with you. As far as what yours is doing, are you getting any words yet?
I got refused. I got bike and I got refused.
You got the word bike? Do you realize that the bike taxi place is that building right here at the back? So
I did see that, actually.
So again, I'm looking for a specific name at that point because there's a story there that I don't normally tell because it's pretty recent. So it dealt with a suicide inside that building, so or somebody related to that building. So we'll see if that person's name pops up and kind of take it from there. If it's there,
Like refused service to those
We're
two
gonna find out.
kids with Big John.
possibly kind of a stretch. I would be more convinced if it said military, cadet, or underage.
Interesting.
Do you see where I'm going? So again,
Central.
lots
Not
of good
necessarily,
stuff.
but there we go.
You got the point.
I see. Okay.
All right. I'm going to work with Ashley first. You and I are actually going to go over to that blank wall. Everybody else kind of spread out around here, and let's get that spirit box turned up. All right, so point your camera directly at the blank wall and kind of tell me what you see going on in there.
Heat.
Mainly one color, right? So the reason why I say leave somebody's skin temperature in there, that wall should have been the opposite color. It should have turned blue at this point.
Now it's blue.
So again, remove obviously the much warmer temperature, and then it's going to turn back to red again because it's always going to look for that warmer spot. Now, as far as you got dots moving around on your screen, it's always going to give you the hottest point and the coldest point. That's the way I have it set up. I always like to see where the variation in temperature is, and I know it's probably in the triple digits tonight because of the humidity. That's technically not so. It was about 88 degrees driving in downtown tonight, which means it probably feels about 95 to 96 with our humidity. So just gauging this humidity piece that I do on a nightly basis, you get used to what's what. Not to mention I know how much I'm sweating, so it's about 96. So again, those triple digits are a little extreme, but it does record audio as well. So everybody else that watches this video after tomorrow will get this same explanation. That's why I do this one-on-one. But again, that's why we keep that person in view at all times after the next stop, because we're going to spend a little bit of time at the next stop. This is a brief one. That's when I'll say, Ashley, let's go ahead and stop your video and give it a break, and then I'll tell you when to start it back up again, and then that way I'll splice those two videos together, and it will be actual all investigation instead of us walking from one stop to the next. Okay. So, but yeah, you got this.
So I'm just looking for
cold spots.
like, okay.
Literal
Anything
cold
to
spots.
show up on
And at
there.
the next stop, I'm going to show you a piece of evidence that I caught that gives you a better gist, and I give it to you at the next stop because that's where it happened. And that way you know exactly what's going on there. And that way you can visualize it for yourself because you're there.
Okay.
It's a lot easier to see. It's a very weird corner of that particular next space. So that's why I wait till that next stop. Okay. And again, I give you the explanation of why it happened, what happened actually at that night, and it's probably my best piece of evidence, and it happened over a year ago. So it was like July of last year when I reopened back up again. So it's kind of like, oh my God, that's the craziest thing I've seen on there. So I saved it. All right, let me bounce around with everybody else.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Stop. I got a cold spot right behind you.
Alright, let's talk more about your millimeter. So have you seen this guy move at all? We're going to actually shut the temperature off. We already have the temperature gauge going on upstairs. So in the event that you see
I
something,
don't do any of this.
So we fun. That'll be fun.
Is this all bullshit?
Let's see. Okay.
Missy Allen Judgment's doing.
Like bullshit about that bar?
No, that's actually true.
I want to
The
ask him what
stories that he's telling us are true. It's history about the buildings, about where we're at, things of that nature.
I don't know. Am I expecting something to pop up on here? Like,
Move.
what color is it gonna be?
Black or blue.
Black and blue.
The whole thing is black and blue
It's
right
gonna be
now.
dark. You gotta wait for it to take place.
So you look at one of them,
Feel
and
that
you're
black back
looking for
there?
any kind of light that's moving on its own or taking the shape of somebody.
Oh, Josiah.
Yeah, I'm afraid if you even touch them all.
Yeah, but see, those are just like car things over there.
right inside, I think where your fingers are, there's 4 buttons.
So
very
that's
bottom,
the difference.
We'll reset. Take it back to green. You have a little bit of
Oh, Josiah. There's something black right behind you. The door.
But again, do you kind of have the same view of the spirit box? Like I'll say, because again,
Oh,
it'll
the
distract you
neighborhood.
from anything else. So I'll say, let's turn your motion sensor off, so it's antenna in, white button thing out. Have you heard anything yet?
No, it's red.
Red.
It's not red.
Anomalies and red.
I can't make this stuff up. I promise you. And he's got a little bit of craziness going on.
What's it say?
So I'm sorry.
Said
that's-
anomalies
that's
and then it
something
said red.
It's just it's weird listening. to
Okay,
it go slow.
we need to turn so I can find stuff.
So again, any
Oh, we
word
need to
you can
turn.
make
It'll be
out of
like
it.
random noises.
Yep.
Random like loud words.
Yep, that's what we're listening for. Anything that those DJs and commercials are going to say back to us. Lifeline in the world. But I'm excited about Red already. Like that's good. The fact that they were able to find the word in the app. So the game you and I are playing, because again I told you this is meant to be a game in a host. Who's giving us the word? Is it the app or is it a ghost? And it's not a coincidence when that is my go-to piece of information that leads me to all of the other data the next morning.
That's awesome. What's up?
Eugene, look at this stuff moving behind your side.
Shit, something's went off there.
So their side, it's right behind them.
Oh, yeah,
Things that are not supposed to reflect light. That's
I feel like someone touched me on the shoulder.
Alright, I say we go learn some real history. What do you think?
Sweet.
Probably turn that motion sensor off. I am excited about Red already. Like this is me excited, by the way. So I want that guy to go, it's haunted, you go in that corner, you go over there.
Love the even keel.
Charger power.
I have no doubt that van is haunted.
Welcome to another beautiful site of Charleston. It's a parking lot, everybody. Congratulations.
That's okay.
You made it. So,
It's always good.
yep, always. So, 3.9? Yeah, you're going to get a little craziness in here. That's good that you already have something. And with his device, you guys will see me writing things down. His is the only device that does not record anything. So I have to remember to record the 2.4 that did occur over there. With the motion sensor, he's still getting used to it, so I'm pretty much dismissing all of it because it will move with his motion. So what is this place? This is the Charles and Eliza Pinckney Mansion site, which, by the way, I also want to point out we are 2.5 days away from a full moon, and full moons for me normally mean the exact opposite of what you think. It is usually the worst night for paranormal activity. My best nights, you guys have to remember, I'm out here 6 nights a week. New moons, the exact opposite. So in the paranormal
Darkest.
world, it's probably full over there. So that's kind of how I look at that. But again, some people are like, oh, full moon. I'm like, yeah, good luck. We'll be fingers crossed if we can find anything. So I hate to be like that, but that's when they book their tours. Anyway, so with this particular lot, there's a lot of history that goes on here. But keep in mind, this is kind of a level 2. This is not going to be what color is George Washington's White Horse, like what we did with the Red Barn. Now, granted, we did get an answer about the Red Barn, even though we may not have asked it out loud, but that's perfectly fine. They already heard me asking it. But you will get answers from the 2 spirit boxes we have, along with any other activity that's going to happen from the 2 cameras and where the motion sensor in the back.
Awkward and William.
What was the one before that?
Off and then awkward. And now William.
No, I got nothing on William. I'm trying to think. There's probably a connection, but it's probably not close enough for me to say, yeah, that's definitely what's going on. The fact that he's got activity is good. So, what actually is this place? Charles and Eliza had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. You guys are on vacation. Nobody wants to talk about politics, including me. So we're actually going to move on to Eliza. She's way cooler anyway. So Eliza married Charles at a young age. I'm not going to tell you how old she was, but I will tell you Charles was over double her age. So there's a pretty big age gap between them. She married him because her father in England thought he was dying, and he wanted to see all his kids one last time. She didn't believe he was dying, so she got married. This is the 1740s. There's no such thing as citizenship yet. He's not moving, which is fantastic. But I want to say, what did it go up to?
140.
140?
Yeah.
Remember that number. I'm going to need to record it, because that is one of the highest. I've only seen it go to 149, and that's been in this lot, just so you guys know. Very interesting that we're spiking that high already. That's amazing. Plus the 24 over there. You guys are throwing numbers at me. You've got to get rid of the numbers. So, anyway, she got married, and again, because of the father, that is a notification. I see like the red light here is on. I'm sorry, guys. I think this is causing. That's giving us like a temperature gauge or something that's going to go crazy with temperature. So you might want to actually keep your video on.
BRYAN.
Nope, not that. That's one of the common names I see.
Okay.
So again, I'm going to call that part of the 80% yes.
Okay.
But the 1740s, no such thing as marrying for a green card or citizenship. So Dad gets better. She was right. She actually married Charles out of love, but she was right. Dad did get better. He starts sending her gifts over from England. One of those gifts happened to be the plant indigo. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. We're wearing it right now. So again, pretty interesting stuff. Our rice plantations were going downhill. She swooped right in as a businesswoman, called her dad and said, I need somewhere to sell this. This is going to be huge for us. She's selling it overseas now. She's now a businesswoman in the middle of colonial times, something absolutely unheard of. So obviously this was where our mansion was. The other piece of it is that her garden was like right in front of us. So she experimented with the indigo here and learned from her zealously on how to keep it cultivated in our weird temperatures. It's not always hot down here, as you guys know. So it does get cold. So she had to learn about it here, and then she moved it over to Mount Pleasant, just north of here. That's just a quick history on Eliza, but there are some weird facts you can ask about on your spirit boxes. So stick with somebody with a spirit box, but we definitely need to be following Brian, because he's going to know where the hot spots are going to be. Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles, back to back. Both Elizas go by their maiden name. I'm pretty sure I don't have to explain what a maiden name is in this group. So they both start with the letter L. So kind of keep that in mind. It's very odd. Obviously, you can ask about the marriage, when they got married. The mansion is obviously not here anymore. What happened to it, and when did that tragedy happen? I'll give you the clue that it was a tragedy. Ask anything you want to about Eliza's death. She's pretty open. Eliza, how old were you when you died? What did you die from? Where are you buried? And what U.S. president was a pallbearer at your funeral? So, like, that's a big one, too, yeah. So, a lot of people ask about that one. They like to go after that one first. The children. I already gave you that there was one child named Charles, but don't poke the bear. There is a tragedy among one of her children, so if you keep poking the bear, all activity will stop, including the readings we're getting on the EMF reader. I've seen it go dead silent, no pun intended. It's crazy. So, again, it's just one of those things. And it won't just stop here, it'll stop throughout the rest of the night. I've seen it. Again, 2 years I've been out here, and people call me later. I'm like, I know why we didn't have much activity. What happened? I was asking about Eliza's tragedy. So, again, just kind of keep that in mind. Just kind of get some names. Maybe find out how many boys, how many girls, and just kind of leave it alone if you're going to ask about the children at all. In the event one of the children wants to come through, I'll know based off the words that you guys are telling me you're hearing and seeing. So, and I will tell you that William is not one of those names. So I know that was probably the first question in your head, but that was the first thing I was going through. Again, spread out. I do have to check you guys in on the app that you guys purchased your tickets from, so kind of give you guys a head start. You're already rolling with yours. Go ahead and start your video, so you got to tap that button on the top of your camera. Keep in mind, people have their cars parked in here, so they're not real keen about cameras being
Getting 49.50 over here. Fair enough.
but again, this is a fun one, so we will spend a good 10 minutes in here or so. So let's just try to find some good evidence, because we're going to get significant evidence, and we're going to stay on a little bit longer. You're pretty quiet, aren't you? Or are you just focused?
I have no clue what we're doing.
You have no clue what you're doing. You're looking for cold spots.
Well,
Check you guys in, and then I'm going to probably come to you first, actually, to show you that evidence that I was talking about.
Okay.
So,
there's 7 kids?
No.
Interesting.
You got the number 7, I
Yeah.
take it?
Got number 7.
It popped up before we asked, so I was curious. He gave us far and then 7.
So the actual word 7 popped up?
Yes.
So is he saying we're gonna find a ghost in here? Huh?
Possible? There's not much at the time in this place.
I'm so confused, Eugene.
I think we're really going to see it tomorrow when we visit out to it. It's awesome.
I forgot what we're talking
I know, I get you excited about one
about.
question.
Forget the questions.
Alright. Evidence for Miss Ashley. Let me show you. This actually occurred up in that corner right over there, so just so you know what you're looking at. So this is obviously the wall right here. You're going to see 2 heads walking past. Do you see the orange heads?
Mm-hmm.
They're living, because obviously they're orange. We're going to find the ghosts. Ghosts are going to be going the opposite way, right about there when it comes over. Did you see the 2 black
did.
heads coming
Okay.
through? Notice there was always somebody in view when that occurred, so they should have been the same color like the first 2 heads. Now, what was interesting about that night was they actually called me up there. I'll never forget it because of this night. They called me up there because they thought they saw shadows. So, of course, my first instinct is go up and debunk. You know, I got people excited at the beginning of the tour. You know, did they catch a shadow off a lamppost or something? I didn't even see this till the next morning. So I have sent it over to firemen and mechanics, and I said, you got to tell me what's going on with this thing. You know, and they're like, yeah, that's 2 heads. Like, it's legit. Like, they're like this, just walking in sync. It's not a car. It's not anything else other than 2 heads walking past that post.
Okay, okay, I'm with you.
So now that's basically what you're looking for.
Okay,
I'd like to give you that heads up.
that's helpful. Thank you. Yeah. I gotta get my hand up there.
That's dope. Look at it. What?
No, but look over here. I swear there's somebody right over there.
There's definitely somebody right there. That's crazy.
What are you hearing on that thing?
Eliza, how old were you when you married Charles?
You heard anything yet?
I mean, not really. I heard a little bit. Brian had the thing on. And that everything was going through.
Yeah. We're getting definitely some definitive answers
I
on.
thought I saw something on that thing right there. On Ash's little
Yeah.
image.
Well, that one light will flicker from time to time. So if there is something going on, that light will flicker, and it's usually with the other EMF meter I use, they go in sync with one another.
Right.
Like it gets pretty nuts in here. It just
Right.
depends.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. That's all I call it goes on. You wait a few minutes, nothing happens, you move on.
So if I miss something on this, will you catch it tomorrow?
Fingers crossed. So I do a spot check on all of the devices. So again, that's why it only takes me 2.5 hours to go through it, because I do go through all of it. Obviously the whole word list I go through, and that way I'm not missing
Who are you
anything there.
suspicious of?
The 2 videos that are being taken, it's a spot check. So every 5 minutes I watch for about a minute. And the same thing with his. And his is obviously going to be the longest because it's going to stay on the whole night.
Okay.
So for every 5 minutes, that's why you get like 15 to 20 terms. If I find anything, and because I mean, you're going to probably record probably about an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and 30 minutes. So I'm going to watch maybe what 15 minutes of the video. I'm going to watch, he's only going to capture maybe 40 minutes of video. So I'm only going to watch 8 minutes out of that one. So if I capture something within those 8 minutes that are scattered, that's kind of the mentality of how I do this. Not to
Okay.
mention everything's going on with BRYAN stuff.
Right.
I'm recording all of it.
Okay.
So you have all of those notes as well.
That's crazy.
What other words do you have? 'Cause yours is like
Yeah.
spot on.
Oh,
No, not that one, Mom.
okay.
This one right
Oh,
here,
so
the
this one.
list.
Okay.
Nick.
And is your light blinking? Like, can you see your timer going down? Or you got something crazy going on?
Well, there's some lights went across the
We're
top of
standing
there.
next to each other.
Some different lights. Like, red and blue lights were flashing up here. I just standing here.
And what I like to do with this one is normally this is meant to be set up like without anybody touching it. Like, set up on a table.
You got any
And I'll
numbers?
ask someone who's here. Maybe
I had to go to work.
You have
That
any
way it's-
numbers or anything?
That way it's a
After how old
specific
you were
color.
when you married
That way it's a
over?
definitive answer. You can do this.
Did you say it like that?
I usually use it for
Eliza, how old were you when you died?
Eliza.
Go to blue.
That's interesting.
The distance. I mean, there's been far and distant. No more far or distant.
Eliza, show me blue.
Interesting.
Well, the word distance kind of shows up when I give you the explanation of all of these things.
Eliza, show me blue,
I'm
please.
not going to leave y'all hanging.
No, that's what I want to know. That's what I'm looking to see. Like what?
Alone.
Eliza, show me blue.
Did the child die alone?
No, because their nose was a trash.
True.
Unless there was a scratch, like he fell off a cliff or something. Or fell from a top because of it.
Eliza, show me blue with your hair. Eliza, show me blue, please. Show me blue, Eliza. Eliza, show me blue. Eliza, show me blue. Eliza, show me blue. Eliza, show me blue. If you're here, Eliza, show me blue. Let Ashley see you.
What battle was your son
Eliza, what battle was your son injured?
Eliza, show me blue. She's over there, but
Yeah, I love the details. I'm cool with that.
Did you see her?
Eliza, show me blue. I'm going to turn blue from that way. He said make him show it again, step away. You hear that?
These are
Eliza, show me blue.
I love it whenever that is like curtailed to that area. You know, this is a one area, you know, this is a like Charleston is.
Eliza, show me blue.
Eliza, get close to that black box. Metal stick, make it go to blue.
Eliza, come on, make it go blue. Make it go blue, Eliza.
Thank
I did.
you.
Eliza, make it go blue. Come on, Eliza, get close. Go close.
Eliza, stop the black box. Make it stop the noise. Thank you. Can we try again and make it go to purple? You gotta get a little closer than you were with blue.
Eliza, get closer. Let's go purple. Please. Please, just a little bit closer. That's the purple.
That's not an everyone purpose.
Eliza, please go purple.
Say please.
Eliza, we know you're here. Just come closer and go purple.
Eliza, our motive is to learn about your family and your history.
No.
That's why it does it.
Liza. Can you show me purple? I'm a queen making myself. You can touch the stick.
Liza, we simply want to learn about you and your family and the history of your beautiful mansion here.
You can do it.
Obviously, we're awesome because we had a president who's a really good president.
Check us out here, Liza.
Liza, what do you want to tell us about?
Let's go, Liza.
Batteries.
Well, there's the Charleston battery.
Yeah, but I think things like cameras, batteries, anything like that, it can mean something from that. As far as the devices.
Interesting.
I've had things come up where it says camera,
Liza, come on.
and I pick the camera. And
Give it to us just a little bit. Liza, let's go to purple.
Or it'll say no
You were
camera,
close.
and one of them will
Come on, Liza. Come on, Liza, show us purple.
keep going.
You're here. Come on, show us purple. Show us purple, Liza. A
Liza,
little
show
bit
us
closer.
indigo.
So while he's holding that still, I am going to give you guys the answers to the question. We're going to start off with what we actually found. So you have the number 7. Eliza died at the age of 70. So I was waiting for the word T to show up. So that way there's actually 17. So again, interesting that that popped up. You also have the word first. You're going to know what popped up right now. So we had the word first. That is referring to the president that was the pallbearer at her funeral. It was George Washington. So very interesting fact there. I don't think we have anything else other than the word lead, but you guys concluded that maybe somebody got shot. And yes, one of her children named Thomas, another son, did get shot in the Battle of Camden. That was for the Revolutionary War. Now, the word Camden has shown up here before with Thomas's name. That's how I learned about it. I have had people have their right leg start hurting in this lot, I think on 3 occasions now. However, it was his left leg that got shot. He was on a cane the rest of his days. So let's continue on with the kids just because I'm already in the midst of them. The next child, because you guys have Charles Thomas, the next one is baby George. So again, baby George, we don't know what happened to him. Basically, the death certificate has the same death and birth as the month and year, so they're the same thing. So we don't know if the baby was days or weeks old. There's also no grave or headstone for this child. So we do know that George was named after Eliza's father. So that makes we have 3 Georges: the president, the father, the son. The interesting thing about all of this, and this is just a joke, and I know you guys will get it. Some kids look at me and say, "Really?" Eliza's maiden name is Lucas. So what's her father's name?
George Lucas.
George Lucas. And then I get kids that ask me, "Isn't that the guy that made Star Wars? That was Eliza's dad?" I'm like, no,
Yep,
hang
totally.
on, wrong timeline. So I figure I have an intelligent group among me tonight. I can make jokes. Let's see, where were we? Oh, there was one daughter, Harriet. That's what I was waiting for with the distance, because she did move away from Charleston and moved up to Ori. Horry County is Myrtle Beach, just so you have an idea. She married in Horry. Obviously, prominent family to prominent family. There was a lot of letter ratings, so there's usually like distance, letters, ink, paper. So I wait for those extra things that kind of pop up. Yeah. So that's what I was waiting for those extra things. Nothing solidified yet. So of course, when I listen to the regular Spirit Box, hopefully some of those clues will pop up. The mansion did catch fire in 1861. So that was in the Great Fire of 1861. Every tour guide is going to tell you about a Great Fire of whatever year it happened. This one in particular, we've had dozens of them in case you've never been here. Literally dozens. This one started at the Harris Teeter up the road and went from Peninsula Coast to Peninsula Coast. This building just happened to be in the way. We are standing where the damage occurred, like literally right now. So again, it was only about half of it, and the only photos we have of this building are after the fire. So it's very interesting. My wife and I, as I told you guys, I'm going to have a shop down here. This is actually one of the plots that we're looking at simply because we would rebuild the mansion the way it was originally set up based on the photos that are available after the fire and some descriptions from some friends of the family.
Right.
So it only takes $20 million. So no pressure, guys. Working on it. Because it would take an archaeological dig to be able to get this particular one because it's never had it. And I would want the artifacts for the haunted hotel upstairs, obviously. You know, and being respectful of the way we're doing things is what we're actually after. Let's see, what else did we not cover? So, Eliza was 22 when she got married to Charles, who was 45. So 23 years between them. We normally get 22 here. And that was actually the day of her birth or death as well, so May 22nd. 1793. I almost forgot the year. I almost said 1973. It's got the reverse. So 1793, which of course now George Washington makes a whole lot of sense to you as far as that goes. Let's see. I think that about covers all the questions. And you guys weren't going rogue. I kind of listened in on all of you. None of you asked any crazy questions. Any other questions about the paintings that I can maybe answer for you that I might know about? Interesting thing about George, the president, that things will show up here. I actually had the EVP George Washington show up twice in the same week. That's how I learned about it. I think there's got to be a link to the Pinckney somewhere. And then later on, as it kept going and we were asking about it, we started getting Martha, Apple, Cherry, Wooden. Actually, Wooden showed up here last night, and everyone's like, "Why Wooden?" I'm like, "Yeah, Wooden actually." So that's the reason why. So from here, we are going to actually head up to Lodge Alley. So we are going to stop the recording on your end and on your end, actually. So go ahead. Normally not just start, but Magnolia restaurant has been shut down for some, like pretty much all week.
I don't know, it's significantly cooler than it was out there.
Right at the cemetery.
You can pretty much shut that off in here. This is actually considered a quiet area. That's why after that spirit box will be turned down. Did you get any games or words along the way?
It's an elbow and brain.
What was the last one?
Brain.
Brain. Nothing. Alright, so let me kind of give you the layout of the land here real quick. And we're going to be brief here. Again, this is a hotel, that's why it's considered a quiet area. But when we crossed that last crosswalk coming over, we just crossed over into the original Charlestown walls. So Charleston used to be called Charlestown, and was called the Walled City. This is one of the first streets we ever had. We're walking on it. It's called Lodge Alley. So the interesting thing is I actually have the full list of residents of every person that's ever lived down here. And I always look for the names of the people that have lived here. So these two buildings were not here, but these bricks were. So these bricks are original. These people were considered lower class based off an archaeological dig that they found some tools and silverware, clothing, that kind of thing. The reason why it's called Lodge Alley, Freemasons had one of their Masonic lodges on this alley before it was residential. So we've had the words brick, Freemason, Illuminati, all kinds of things show up around here. Yeah, that one just came to me last month. I was like, really? So there weren't many people that actually live down here. So again, the list is short, but I do get the common names of Benjamin and John. There were 4 different Johns that lived down here, but when I get Benjamin and John together, they both lived here in 1801. That's 2 out of 5 people that lived here. Those are 2 common names that I get together. Just had it actually last week. So again, can't make this stuff up when it happens all the time. So, and it's not like always on the same spirit box either. It's always on something different. Again, this is an interesting alley. Every hotel has a claim of a ghost. None of them give me free rooms to verify. Next summer, the wife and I are making rounds. We're going to be hitting every haunted hotel downtown Charleston for new podcast episodes, so to either verify it or debunk what their claims are. So we're going to be hitting them pretty hard.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So again, I have a rough life, brother. Let me tell you. I write books and I go ghost hunting. It's really rough. From here, just to kind of give you guys the layout of the land, I'd like to give you this piece because we're going to talk more about that wall later on. We're going to cut through this neighborhood. It's still a quiet zone until we get around that corner. We will start seeing much larger groups. You're going to see those large groups of 20 plus people. Probably you'll start appreciating your small private party, right? So it's going to be very, what's today, Thursday? Yeah, today's Thursday. So it might not be overcrowded, but we will kind of choose our spot. I'll give you some myths and legends of the town, let you guys kind of take a seat for a moment because it is very hot and muggy. And then we're going to investigate a female pirate over at the Powder magazine. And we will dive into that one pretty heavy, like what we did with the Pinkley Mansion site, which, by the way, I'm going to point out that is way heavier than what I normally see. The high spike you've had, the work that you've had, I don't know what's coming up on yours yet, but again, fingers crossed with the amount that's going on, something's going to pop up. And the 2 cameras actually picked up on something. You guys were pointed and aimed in the right areas at all times, plus you guys both seem to be pretty steady. I'm not going to be looking at like one of these YouTube kids walking around downtown, which is going to be nice. So again, we're going to be just cutting through a neighborhood. We're literally right on the cusp of where I'm allowed to go, so we're just going to cut through this. Once we exit the alley, we'll probably get that thing first again. Again, I'm going to place them all together. Alley? I can't make this stuff up.
Jelly.
It says alley right on the word list.
What was the other words?
A, H-A-Y, and alley, A-L-L-E-Y, and union, U-N-I-O-N.
Do it.
Remind the house reminds me of Boston up there.
Yeah, just.
Everything's at the top of your desk.
Hey, you better not leave me by myself, Eugene.
That goes jump against get your ass.
You might.
Joshua.
I hope he finds one on this and I try to bug you guys.
It's probably Joshua. You don't have anything else.
I don't know if I'm supposed to be recording right now or not. But I am.
keep.
I'm gonna check out my spot before I sit down. Oh, okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Sure you don't sit on.
Somebody's ghost. We're definitely going to keep yours running just because it's a lot easier to splice two on yours. Yours, it doesn't matter because it's a different program.
Okay.
So yeah, you can definitely leave yours off. What other words do we have before Will? Was there anything else? I heard insanity come up.
Will, insanity, conflict, alley, hay, and union.
I normally use your list as kind of like, because there was like 15 stories on this one. So I literally like wait to see like what's going to pop up and not kind of go off of it. But if there's going to be clues, and last night there was a clue on there that they didn't tell me about. The woman's initials for the ghost of what those folks up there are always looking for. You're going to see other tours go straight to that cemetery over there. Her initials showed up on the word list last night, and I never even knew it.
Oh,
I was
wow.
like, you got to be kidding me. You don't get initials randomly on that app. So, but anyway, did you guys notice the beautiful brick alley that we passed by? So it's residential at the end. We're not allowed to go down there as a tour group. I'm the guy that got caught, by the way. So, but at any rate, it's called Philadelphia Alley now, but we all tell the story of what it used to be. And it used to be called Dueller's Alley. So after duels became illegal and stupid, they renamed it after a city that helped us with one of our fires, Philadelphia. The interesting thing is if you turn around, that wall back there is actually part of the alley, but the doorway in the middle is for the loser of a duel. So in the event somebody lost, meaning they died from a duel, they would carry him over this courtyard, over to St. Philip Cemetery, drop the body, go celebrate the winner. Like that's, yeah. So that's why that doorway's still there. I still don't remember where I found that little nugget of info, but nobody else knows that little fact as far as the other guys. That's pretty cool. But anyway, we all tell the story of one specific duel. I still get you know, things from the spirit boxes and little things as we kind of talk about it, just to see what actually pops up. Even though I don't go down the alley anymore, I used to, but it used to be very quiet. You would use my voice recorder as far as what to listen to. There was a doctor that moves down here. His name is Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. The attorney that was handling the money told her to send the doctor away. He thinks that he's just after her money. He just graduated med school. He's going to start his practice here in Charleston. He comes down. He's dressed pretty well. The coachman that brought him into town basically set him up to be rendezvous. So it wasn't a very good start. Somebody walking by, seeing what was about to happen, because he knew the fellas that were dropping him off. It's light. We'll take it. But he sees what's about to happen, and he says, "Let me take you somewhere else." He took him to 59 Church Street, trying to save this guy's life. The guy that was walking by, his name was Ralph Isaacs. He has the same initials as where the doctor came from, Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs. So 59 Church Street is up this way. We're on Church Street. That's another reason why I like to tell it up here. So the two become friends. The doctor's practice starts to take off. He's making lots of money. Amanda's going to be moving down soon. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. Every haunted city has a whistler. Ours just happens to be a doctor. So with that said, him and Ralph go see plays together, but the doctor gets better seats because he makes more money. So they can't talk about the play during the play, they wait till after. One night, they go see William. We did get the word Will. They seen William III from Shakespeare, and they're talking about the new actress that was in town. The doctor loved her, Ralph did not. They start arguing. Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée back home in Rhode Island, Amanda. Obviously, they get pretty angry at each other. They go their separate ways. Ralph is from here. Goes to the newspaper. He's going to put an ad in the paper about what a disgrace the doctor is to the city of Charleston over this whole argument. So the doctor sees it. He rebuttals with, "Let's go to Dueller's Alley. We're going to settle this." So they come down. They take their 20 paces and turn. The doctor pointed his gun in the air and he's shocked. He did not want to kill his friend. Ralph still has his one shot. Puts it in the kneecap. Sorry, dude. It's usually the person right in front of me that gets the shot. Puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. So he didn't come through the death gate that I just told you about. His friends pick him up, they carry him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later. This is the late 1700s. He dies 10 days later from bleeding out, more than likely. So, they say as you walk through the alley, you can hear the doctor whistling. I do have some whistles I can't dip on, but keep in mind, all the locals know the story. Walking down Cumberland or Queen, they're going to throw a whistle down the alley. So we would use my audio as kind of a piece of, is it an actual thing going on? Another piece of interesting history about that, just because you guys seem like you're very interested in the history down here. Towards the end of that alley, the bricks get old, and the bricks are actually sun-dried by slave children. So there's handprints and fingerprints in those bricks. That's how I got caught with my very noisy, annoying group with the lasers and all that stuff down there because my folks were stopping to take pictures. I'm like, guys, it's a brief moment. Just I'm going to point out and we're going to keep moving. The neighbor came out and he wasn't real happy with me. So, but again, it's a very interesting story regardless. And we did get Will, but it would be William because that's the name of the play. Like that would be a little bit more succinct. The story that they all tell, and I told you we got the initials from last night. It's a brief one, but every tour likes to drag it out for 10 minutes. So if you guys go on another ghost tour, that's the one they're going to tell you to do. So that's St. Philip's Church. And there's a sign right inside the cemetery gate, and it basically says there's no ghost here but the Holy Ghost. It's because they don't want guys like me in there taking pictures and video and all kinds of mess. 1888, a young lady dies by the name of Sue Howard Hardy. Her initials are last night, SH showed up. Still Sue Hardy. Still have the same initials. I've had SHH pop up, and I've even heard it on the spirit boxes. But this was unique last night because of the SH. So anyway, she dies 6 days after her stillborn child. 1987, local photographers putting a book together of all of our beautiful cemeteries. He captures a full apparition over in that cemetery, over that grave, a woman wearing a shawl, baby basket next to her. It's 1987, no Photoshop, no cell phones, no craziness. He sends it to Kodak. I know I don't have to explain to you guys what that is. I have to explain to the little ones. They're like, what's a Kodak? So, but they can't debunk the picture either. Now, the picture for guys like me, it's gold. Like, it's absolute proof. You cannot deny what's going on inside this picture. However, it's cursed. Females that hold it, you're going to get the same symptoms like what I told you about at Big John's. If you're holding it and you're pregnant, you're probably not going to have a good pregnancy based on the gist of the story. I do not show the picture. However, if something pops up based on that particular story, I always give you a warning before you click the link. This is the cursed photo. So again, you can look it up for yourselves, have the mail show it to you. Just do not handle it on your phones. Again, I'm not going to be the guy that gets a phone call 9 months later that something's wrong with the family. I'm not going to be that guy. Let's get your mind set up on pirates, and my friend Jack is hanging out up there. You guys are going to realize why I call him Jack here very shortly. But you guys see the burning gas lamp off in the distance? Yes. That is the pirate house. Somebody lives there. Do not go in his backyard looking for ghosts. He gets very angry. Don't ask me how I know all of these things of how to make the neighbors mad, but I'm that guy.
You're the guy.
Yeah, I'm always that guy. Oh, we got another group going straight to that cemetery. What do you got? Sympathy, right?
Like sympathy for our babies.
Yeah.
I know.
Could be. Very much so. But it is kind of a stretch. We're going to let this group pass by before I tell you more about the pirate house. Just because it's going to be a large group and she's got her chains and all that stuff going on. So they're going to go straight up to the cemetery.
Brown University.
What's that?
Is that where the doctor went?
Kitty
Brown
cat.
University.
Can I put that cat?
I just figured it was Rhode Island.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Sorry, all her.
But anyway, that's where Blackbeard's men would come off their ships and actually have a few drinks, meet a few ladies, and have a place to sleep. Blackbeard actually stayed on the ships. He never set foot on our soil. So, I know. People claim, because there was a tunnel dug from the pirate house 1 block away to Dock Street Theater, one of the top 10 haunted locations in America. Do I have that kind of evidence? I don't. I've been in there dozens of times. I'm down here all the time. I do not have any kind of major claims to that building. But, at any rate, they dug a tunnel over there because it was also a whorehouse, a playhouse, and a hotel during that time frame. They would obviously go down there for the whorehouse, but they also went down there for the playhouse. Pirates tie really good knots. They would work backstage in between bartering with the locals. So again, very interesting piece of the pirate history here in Charleston just because there was so much going on. Now that your mindset is on pirates, I say we go across the street and go learn more about Ann Cormac and see what happens with this young lady. Where I take a break. By the way, if you guys are picture people, tourists, it doesn't get any better than that. 2 nights away from a full moon. On a full moon night, we'll actually be on the other side of the steeple. So, I know, history can be boring. I saw that yawn.
It's a couple hours past my bedtime.
She's got an hour.
Not at all.
Most of you guys said you're in the medical field. I figured you guys are used to not getting any sleep.
Yeah, I'm a special. He just has finished residency. So. Starts his job Monday.
Very cool. Ooh, yeah, this is where last stop. I have to wring out the shirt. This humidity is killing me. It's been like this for weeks.
We're used to it in Georgia.
Yeah.
Is this the place we're recording?
After I'm done telling the whole history here,
Awesome.
I'll say definitely go ahead and get your recorder going. We'll probably have to change your battery, by the way. Your battery's probably getting pretty low.
But I keep going, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yours is good. You're on a battery charge. All right, so let me tell you what's going on here. Anything coming up, by the way?
No, not yet right now.
So we're going to talk about this building over here with the crosses on it. That building to your right, straight ahead, those are not crosses, those are earthquake bolts. You guys about the big earthquake of 1886. Earthquake bolts are basically a turnbuckle to go through the roof or the floors of buildings. In the event we have another earthquake, you tighten them up, it straightens the building back up. Great theory, doesn't work. Interesting. Weird spelling of Cameron. Yeah. I'll have to dive into that one. Those are the very first earthquake bolts that Charleston actually put in. Why? Because this is the oldest government building on the East Coast. So again, finished in 1713. It did serve in 7 different wars, including the Civil War. That was its last servant there. Charlestown Walls, let me go there. So the street behind me, this is Cumberland. This is where that wall was that I was telling you guys about. It went up half a block past the powder magazine and started going south towards the battery. It's tucked into the corner on purpose. In the event, from 3 blocks away, it gets struck by cannon. You're going to have a hard time getting through those walls. They're 32 inches thick. Let's say it goes all the way through and blows up the gunpowder. There's sand in the roof from 1712 that's supposed to go up in the air and drop to put out the fires on the gunpowder. That's the way it's designed. Yeah, the sand is still there because it's never been attacked. It's a great theory, also, that doesn't work. So, we had another powder magazine closer to the battery. Sand went up after it got attacked. Could not put out the fire, burned to the ground. This is the only one left. So, I know, right? I tell you all the crazy history on this building because our story actually begins in the middle of its construction, and it's just a familiar building because of the age of it. So 1708 is when the story begins. This building is still in construction. A young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormack. She moves here with her dad and his mistress. The mistress is her mom. The 3 of them are getting away from his wife. You guys follow me on that one? Okay. A lot of people ask me to slow down or say it again. So, be surprised how many people do that. So once they get here, this is where they land, and I don't want to know how angry that wife was that they moved halfway across the world in 1708 by boat. So they land here. This building is familiar. They buy a plantation up in the Georgetown area, about an hour to an hour and a half north. He sends the daughter down here to sell the crops and all that stuff because the mom dies pretty quickly after getting here. We're going to fast forward to 1713. The building is done. 1715, pirates are coming through town. Anne Cormack is a teenager. As a child, rumor had it that Anne actually stabbed one of her servants with a knife to the belly, like killed them. Like, I'm just giving you the mentality of this young lady for the rest of the story. In 1715, when pirates are coming through town, she's pretty excited, obviously because of this type of mentality. She falls in love pretty quick. This guy's name is James Bonney. Dad doesn't approve. He's a filthy pirate. Of course he doesn't approve. I wouldn't approve either, and I don't approve. So she runs away to Jamaica. She gets married. Anne Cormack becomes Anne Bonney, your most famous female pirate of the Golden Age. Now, when she gets down there, James Bonney, her new husband, is a coward. This is not who she wanted. She wanted Captain Jack Sparrow from the pirate movies. This is not him. He's a privateer. He's a spy for the British. So she remarries again. Or not remarries. Falls in love again. She stayed married to James Bonney the entire time. My apologies. The guy she falls in love with, his name is John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. That's why I named the guy Jack. He likes to follow us around. So Calico Jack is very young. He's called Calico Jack because he wears the jackets of the men he kills. So he's a very dapper young man. And he has his own pirate crew, and Anne wants to be part of it. Now, females curse pirate ships. You cannot have a girl on a pirate crew. So the deal he makes is that she has to dress like the pirate crew in order to become part of it. She's okay with this cross-dressing because back in Ireland, Dad used to dress her up as a boy to hide her away from his wife. So she's okay with this. She just wants to be a pirate. Let's do this. So she becomes part of the crew. She's allowed to dress like a female in his quarters. Of course, he's the captain. Sure. So, of course, eventually she gets pregnant. Probably wasn't long after, to be quite honest. Can't have a pregnant pirate guy on the crew. So he drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby, come back, we'll figure it out when you come back. She has the baby, returns with no baby. We have no idea what happened to that child. She's also dressed like a girl. She doesn't care anymore about hiding her gender. This makes Jack mad. Now, knowing her mentality, the way you do, she's going to make him even more mad. He just captured another pirate crew and they're down below deck. She's going to go flirt with these guys. The guy she's flirting with turns out to be a girl, just to be a guy, pretending to be a pirate, and so that way Calico Jack can capture them. So again, now we have two females doing the exact same thing on the same ship. Unheard of during this time frame. So what happens from there, she convinces this young lady, whose name is Mary Reed, to become part of the crew. The British find out where they are. They send their entire fleet after them. All the men pirates are down below deck, too drunk to come up. Anne and Mary, the only two fighting back above deck. Obviously, the ship gets captured. Anne's last words to Calico Jack as he's getting arrested were, "You should have fought like a man instead of going down like a dog." So the word dog shows up here quite often as well. But the judge, his name is Nicholas Laws. He wants to see two men separately. He doesn't know the females. So he tries and hangs all the other men, including Calico Jack. They're all dead and gone. They go in front of the judge. They reveal their gender, trying to save themselves. He doesn't care that they're female. You're still pirates. You're going to hang. Now, we plead our bellies. That was the last thing they said, both claiming to be pregnant. You cannot hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. He sends them both back to jail in hopes that they'll delayed hanging. Anne's dad is still here. He has all of his Irish money. He bails her out, brings her back home, she remarries again, guy number 4 in case you lost tally, has 4 children and dies at the age of 84. I know that seems a lot of weird random facts, but those are the only common things among all of the books that I read about this woman. As far as Mary Reed, she died a year later in 1721 from whatever pirates died from in a Jamaican jail. We don't know if her pregnancy were true or false. We don't know how bumpy and oozy and gross that death was, but I'm sure it was. You can use your imaginations. Now, you can ask whatever you guys want to in here. Cameras, you guys can actually go to the front and actually get some footage of the front of the building if you'd like. Just stay out of the other tours' ways. But as far as the spirit boxes, the only 2 questions that I can actually prove, nomination is interesting. Let me know if you get democracy here, too.
No.
English. Talk about the English. Very cool. See if Port Royal shows up, all that good stuff. But the only 2 questions are, what are the names of Calico Jack's ship, which I do know of, and what are the names of Anne Bonny's parents, which I also know. So, again, everything else is fair game. You guys get direct answers? You get direct answers. We'll see what happens. I don't know the names of the kids. I have no idea. If you ask her how many kids she had, according to legend, she technically had 5. 1 in Cuba, 4 later. How many times she actually fell in love? The story says 4, because we don't have a correlation that she did not fall in love with Mary Reed and have a relationship there either. This is normally a dead EMF zone. So, Brian, if you get anything on your red numbers, I'll be very interested to know. We are going to definitely change out your battery so you can have some more footage. Yep, I figured as much. But everybody else...
You did say batteries earlier.
I did say that.
Sorry, bud.
Eugene, which building am I supposed to get the front of?
Around here, this one over here. I'll walk with you.
Walk out here?
Come to me. Come to me, Annie. Come to the metal stick. Annie, come to the metal stick. Come to the metal stick. Show your ass. Come on. We know you're a hoe. Come on. Yeah, for me. Come on, hoe. Show up. Show us yourself.
Wait, unlock them all. I forgot to.
Come on, hoe. Come on. Come on. Come on out here. Scare me. Come on. Show it to us. Yeah. You are not power to the coward. Just a coward.
You're gonna piss her off.
If you could hear me yell coward, turn it to blue. Come on, coward. There's no hoe coward. That's what I call. Should have hung. Coward. Come on, turn it to blue. Come on, you coward, turn it to blue. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh, he'll hear you tomorrow.
They won't be on here.
He'll be on here. He said that them parking meters would make it go crazy. He's out there pissing this lady off.
Who?
Whoever we're trying to find.
Too much here tonight.
As far as I'm listening for things outside.
Right.
The one I use is actually a three-way, so it records me directly and then noise this way.
Nice.
So we want that instead of the great, the great vocal that you're gonna have tomorrow morning. And you'll see that if I just go to the floor, this whole yours, you'll see that it's
Okay.
really loud. That is a big difference. Actually, how you doing on that thing? Did you get any footage up front?
We did.
Are you staying awake?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's the
I'm
front
gonna
of the
tease you
building
though.
there?
Yeah, this is if you wanted to go around, you can.
I'll walk around there. Make sure we get a little bit.
Any spikes at all, Brian?
No.
No.
4.0 is high as it's going.
We'll take it. Again, anything over here is a spike. That's a big deal. It's definitely not the thinking man. It's like, how's your work day coming?
didn't. Yeah, yeah,
We are right there.
yeah.
Wake up, Eugene. Something's biting me.
I'll be the penny.
Smile, Josiah.
On that devil.
Maybe the ghost is behind you.
We're not going to know every little detail, but it was like the first thing I saw as I'm going through the data this morning. I'm like,
Here, come over here. Get me, and then get in here.
What do you mean?
Like, keep me as your person.
Yeah, I already did this. But I have to have you in the view, so I can't do the whole thing.
That's what I'm saying. Go right there. Go.
I already did this with Brian.
Okay. I was gonna say, there's the blocks right there. That
Is
would
it normal for people not to see anything on here?
be, yeah. They'll point out stuff.
Because I
tomorrow.
haven't seen nothing.
He'll point stuff out tomorrow.
Well, that's gonna stink. I want to see it tonight.
He's gonna send us all of this
Because he
footage.
already said Josh ain't doing his right.
Oh, did he?
Not to Josh, but
No.
he just said he's not getting it.
Yeah, he's not hearing it.
Which I'm not getting it either.
He just said Josh isn't hearing it. You ever feel like you're being watched?
You ever feel like you're being followed?
Yeah, I do actually. By my wife.
No, that would be me.
What's the thing?
I was just, I have a bridal party tomorrow, so I was just double checking.
Whoa, dogs.
You ever feel like somebody's coming up behind you?
Yeah, I'm the devil.
Peter.
This feeder?
Peter. Hook 'em.
Yeah.
Peter Rabbit.
Oh. Peter Pirate. Peter Pirate. The cat's name that keeps walking around and they're just correcting me.
Peter Rabbit did steal carrots.
He did. I don't think he had an eye patch and a wooden leg though.
No, no. Great movie though, if you haven't seen Peter Rabbit too.
I have not seen the second.
Second one's pretty good too.
So, again, this spot here, as great as this story is, it is a hit or miss. So we'll kind of see what comes out of the red spirit box. I'm going to start collecting devices. Again, you guys can ask me a million questions. I know we had some really good conversations about what people normally ask, so if you have any more curiosities, I'm still pretty open. See that with a lot of it jostling around. You stopped your video already?
Yes, sir.
Good deal. So, I appreciate the fact that you guys were engaged with the history. I never know the history. Who's going to be engaged and who's not going to be. It's always a 50-50.
Hey! Ooh,
What do you got?
that's like the first movement I've seen all night.
Right there by the tree.
To the right of it, right here.
You're right up there.
There was a group that walked
Wonder.
by.
There's Wonder. W-N-D-E-R.
I see it. I see it.
Pirates Wonder.
Oh.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts. That's a
That
possibility. We're going to let that run for a few minutes.
Am I crazy?
It might be
Follow-
Peter.
Keep following.
Wander.
Tell your mom not to move out of my thing.
He's Peter and the Wolf. We have Wolf
Oh,
too.
I miss Wolf.
Peter and the Wolf.
We have Peter and the word wolf, and it says suspicious in between them.
Interesting.
It does say it.
What is that?
What are you guys looking at? Because I'm looking over here.
I'm looking at the right.
That's the same thing you are. The right.
Okay.
I'm waiting for that cold dot to be hitting it, so definitely keep that thing going. So last night, this did not give me much. In
Oh,
fact,
really?
it gave me as much as it did tonight. Like, that was a good percentage. I'm going to guess there was a good, probably 10 to 15% that came out of this guy tonight.
Stop there now.
Oh, am I moving? It's moving with me.
No, you need to stay in the front.
Okay.
Yeah, stay right there.
Oh, I didn't realize it.
You look weird.
I'll take yours.
I'm sure.
Or we're all waiting on Ashley for that thing to go away.
That's pretty dope.
Actually, I almost want you to kind of walk towards it. See if it changes at all.
Do you want me to walk in front?
Yeah.
Just take a quick gander up there. That way I have the footage and everything for the time it happens.
I lost my cold dot. Ooh, there it goes.
Hold on. Right there it is.
Jeffrey, go to the left. I just saw it for those couple seconds. Whew. Quit running, come back. The cold went on it a couple times,
Awesome.
but I haven't really seen it like I did the first time. But that first time I totally saw it move.
Let's see if you get it on the way back.
First time I saw it move all night.
That's awesome. Josh, just stay right there in frame. This will be right where it is. Love you, dealer.
Love you.
Watch out for this box. That's the
I know,
box.
I know. I stepped over it earlier. Thank you.
Got the tree limb right there. Now it's up on top.
It's on top of Brian Eugene's head! He was pointing at this car.
Well, I wouldn't be filming somebody's car.
No. Why?
Well, typically.
Could be sitting in there.
Could be. Could be a dude in there ready to shoot us too.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really close to the top while I was looking at it. Well, good.
Were we able to debunk it? Or is it still in question?
Still in question.
Okay, good. We'll stop the recording and let's wait a few minutes.